Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time we're going exploring the really quite enigmatic life and death of John McAfee,
Oh, yeah.
the tech pioneer. I mean, everyone knows McAfee antivirus software.
Absolutely.
So for those who maybe haven't heard of him, he's known for his brilliance,
Yeah.
his eccentricities, and sadly, his legal battles.
A troubled guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And he was found dead in a Spanish prison cell back in 2021. And while the official story is suicide, there are a lot of unanswered questions swirling around his demise.
Yeah, there are a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And this is really where our deep dive kicks off today.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at a really unique source.
Oh,
A Russian language YouTube video
okay.
featuring a psychic medium claiming to channel McAfee's spirit.
Okay, I know what you're thinking, but bear with us.
Right.
While we're not here to endorse any specific beliefs or anything like that,
Of course.
this video presents some really fascinating claims about McAfee's death, his foray into the world of cryptocurrency, and even some unsettling predictions about future technologies.
Like really unsettling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our goal is to dissect these claims, weigh them against reality, and just see what we can learn.
Exactly. Think of it as a journey,
Yeah.
an intellectual adventure,
Mm.
where we sift through the really extraordinary suicide to uncover potential nuggets of truth.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
So the most prominent claim in this video is that McAfee did not commit suicide. He was murdered.
Oh, wow.
And the reason, he supposedly possessed highly classified information that threatened powerful entities, a deeply hidden system controlling global events.
Okay, so it sounds like straight out of a spy novel.
Right.
But before we get too swept up in the intrigue, we have to consider this. What kind of information could be so dangerous that it would lead to murder?
Right.
Is this just a conspiracy theory, or could there be some truth to it?
Yeah, great point. The video doesn't actually go into specifics about the nature of this information, but it does mention a close associate who betrayed McAfee out of fear.
That detail adds another layer
Yeah.
of complexity to this whole thing. It makes you wonder, who was this associate? What did they know? And what were they so afraid of?
Yeah, and how does this hidden system claim connect to McAfee's background? I mean, what's the through line there?
Right. Well, let's look at his most famous creation,
Okay.
McAfee antivirus software.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know it.
Yeah,
Many of us have even used it.
for sure.
And what's interesting is that McAfee initially offered it for free, charging only for updates.
That was a smart move. I mean, that's how it got so popular so quickly.
Absolutely. But the channeled McAfee presents the different perspective.
Yeah.
He claims this was a deliberate move to gain access to a vast network of computers.
So wait, you're saying the antivirus was like a Trojan horse?
That's the implication. By installing the software and clicking OK on all those lengthy user agreements, users unknowingly granted McAfee access and control over their systems.
That's a little unnerving.
Yeah, it is.
It really makes you think about all those agree buttons we click online.
It does, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, if this claim holds any weight, it suggests that McAfee was playing a much deeper game than simply protecting computers from viruses.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to navigate and influence this, like, hidden system that he talked about, using technology to exert control on a massive scale.
It's a fascinating thought,
Yeah.
albeit unsettling.
Yeah, a little
But, we have to remember, this is just one interpretation.
Right.
It's really important to consider other perspectives.
Of course.
For example, offering a free antivirus could also be seen as a genuine attempt to protect people from cyber threats, a move that ultimately benefited countless users.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Yeah.
There are always multiple sides to every story. But if we entertain the idea that McAfee had ulterior motives,
Yeah,
it certainly adds a new layer of intrigue to his actions.
it absolutely does. And it raises some really important questions about the
Yeah.
power dynamics at play
Yeah.
in the tech world and the potential for exploitation.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a potential murder plot
Right.
and a Trojan horse antivirus.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, let's delve into another facet of McAfee's life. His fascination with cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah. He was like a huge supporter of Bitcoin.
Big time.
Yeah. And even predicted a war between governments and cryptocurrency.
That's right. He saw cryptocurrency as another form of energy
Okay.
flowing through the system,
Mm-hmm.
a force capable of disrupting traditional power structures.
And if we look at the real world, we see those tensions playing out like right now.
Absolutely.
Governments are grappling with how to regulate decentralized finance.
Yeah.
And there's a clear struggle for control happening.
It's a battle over who gets to define the rules
Yeah.
of the financial game,
Right.
a conflict that McAfee seemed to anticipate.
Yeah. And speaking of playing the game, let's not forget McAfee's own attempts to gain power.
Oh, yeah.
He ran for U.S. president twice.
He did indeed.
Yeah.
And though his bids were unconventional.
They were definitely unconventional.
Yeah, they were, but they do underscore his understanding of power dynamics.
For sure.
And his willingness to really challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
It's like he was constantly testing boundaries, pushing the limits of what's possible both in the tech world and in the political arena.
So we have this man who built an empire, dabbled in presidential politics, and was deeply involved in the world of cryptocurrency. But there's a darker side to this story.
Yeah.
A claim that chills me to the bone, the mind control technology.
Ah, yes. This is where the deep dive takes a truly unsettling turn.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that next.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
So the channeled McAfee claims to have possessed information about a technology that is capable of manipulating human behavior on a massive scale.
And the details of this are pretty disturbing.
They are?
It supposedly involves a microparticle derived from a rare deep-sea mineral that's added to green products, something a lot of people consume regularly.
Yeah.
So basically mind control through your breakfast cereal. That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction dystopia. I mean, is there any actual evidence to support this claim?
Yeah, well, while the video doesn't provide any concrete evidence,
Right.
it does raise some thought-provoking questions. Let's say for a moment that such technology does exist.
Okay.
What would the implications be? How could it be used?
Well, it's a chilling thought. Imagine influencing elections, manipulating consumer behavior, even controlling social movement.
Exactly. The ability to subtly influence thoughts and actions on such a vast scale would be incredibly powerful and potentially very dangerous.
It makes you think about all the information we consume every day.
Yeah.
News advertising, social media. Could we already be subject to this type of manipulation without even knowing it?
It's a valid concern in our increasingly interconnected world.
Yeah.
We're constantly bombarded with information, and it's not always easy to discern what's true, what's biased, and what might be intentionally manipulative.
So are we just supposed to live in fear, constantly suspicious of everything we see and hear?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
The video also offers a potential solution, a glimmer of hope amidst all the darkness.
You're talking about the collective consciousness concept, right?
Exactly. The channeled McAfee spoke at length about the inherent interconnectedness of humanity,
Right.
suggesting that this interconnectedness is actually our greatest strength.
Okay, but how does that translate to protecting ourselves from mind control? It seems a bit abstract.
Think of it as a shared energy field,
Okay.
a web that links all living beings. Some people might call it the universal mind or the quantum field.
Right.
But the idea is that when a critical mass of people awaken to their true potential and connect with this collective consciousness, it creates a powerful counterforce to manipulation.
So it's like a mass awakening of human awareness can neutralize the negative influences of this technology?
That's the suggestion.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into a collective power that transcends individual control.
It's a compelling idea. I have to admit, it's a lot to wrap my head around. Are there any real-world examples of this collective consciousness in action?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Think about social movements, protests, even online activism. These are all instances where people come together with a shared intention, a collective desire for change. And often these movements have a ripple effect, impacting policies, shifting perspectives, and influencing the course of history.
That's true. When people unite for a common cause, they can create a force much greater than themselves.
Exactly. It's a reminder that we are not powerless. We have the ability to shape our reality both individually and collectively.
This is all fascinating, but I have to ask, how does John McAfee fit into all of this? I mean, he was a tech mogul, a presidential candidate, and now we're hearing about mind control and collective consciousness. It's almost like he was living a double life.
That's what makes him such a captivating figure. He was a very complex individual, a brilliant innovator who seemed to be both fascinated by technology and wary of its potential for abuse. He was a master manipulator, but perhaps he was also trying to show us the game, to expose the hidden systems of control and empower us to break free.
So maybe these seemingly outlandish claims about his death, the antivirus and the mind control technology, are all part of a larger message. A warning wrapped in a riddle.
Perhaps. And it's up to us to decipher that message, to separate fact from fiction, and to decide what we believe.
Okay, so we have this hidden system, this potential mind control technology, and the collective consciousness as a possible countermeasure. Where do we go from here?
Well, the channeled McAfee also mentioned something else, something that might tie all of this together. A crystal grid.
A crystal grid. Now that sounds like we're entering truly esoteric territory. Tell me more. A crystal grid. Honestly, that sounds like something straight out of a New Age fantasy novel.
It does sound pretty out there, doesn't it? But if we stick with us for a moment and explore this idea, it might actually connect some of the dots we've been pondering. According to the channeling, this crystal grid exists deep within the Earth.
So what is it exactly? Some kind of giant underground crystal structure.
That's the idea. It's described as a natural energy system, like a network of interconnected nodes or acupuncture points for the planet.
Okay.
And these crystals supposedly hold and transmit the Earth's natural frequencies, which are said to promote harmony and well-being.
Okay, I'm picturing this massive subterranean crystal network. What does it do? What's its purpose?
The channeling suggests it acts as a sort of energetic immune system for the planet, counteracting negative energies. It's like a balancing force working to maintain harmony and stability.
So if this mind control technology exists and is disrupting the natural order, this crystal grid could be our defense mechanism.
That's the implication. The channel claims that this crystal grid is currently being suppressed, its power neutralized by the artificial frequencies generated by all our technology. But there's hope.
Hope. How so?
Remember the collective consciousness we talked about? The idea is that when enough people awaken to their true potential and connect to this collective energy, their combined intention can actually activate the crystal grid.
So it's like a global energy healing session powered by human intention. Activate the grid, neutralize the negative energies, and restore balance to the planet.
Exactly. It's a pretty wild concept.
Yeah.
But it does offer a sense of hope in the face of what we've been discussing.
I have to admit, it's a lot to process. But stepping back for a second, it seems like all these claims from the channel McAfee, the murder, the antivirus, the mind control, and now this crystal grid paint a picture of a world caught in a struggle between control and freedom.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. This deep dive, even with its bizarre source material, ultimately raises fundamental questions about power technology and our role as individuals in navigating this complex world.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by technology, by the constant flow of information, by the systems that seem to control so much of our lives.
That's understandable. But if there's one key takeaway from all this, it's that we're not powerless. We have a choice. We can either be passive consumers, letting the matrix dictate our reality, or we can choose to awaken, connect with each other, and tap into the power of our collective consciousness.
It all comes back to that idea of individual and collective empowerment. McAfee, in his own eccentric way, was perhaps trying to jolt us awake, make us question the systems we take for granted, and ultimately remind us of our own potential.
And even if we dismiss some of these claims as outlandish or fantastical, the underlying message is worth considering. How do we want to interact with technology? How do we protect our autonomy in an increasingly interconnected world? How do we create a future where technology serves humanity rather than the other way around?
These are the questions that linger long after the deep dive is over. And while we may not have all the answers, the process of exploration, of questioning, of critical thinking is crucial in itself.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the enigmatic world of John McAfee, we leave you with this. Don't just accept the narrative you're given. Question everything, explore different perspectives, and remember the power to shape your reality, and our collective future lies within you.
That's a powerful thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the mind of John McAfee. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep questioning, and keep believing in the power of human potential